Welcome to It's a Numbers Game, brought to you by MSP Finance Team, the team that helps MSP owners globally get wealthier and happier. I'm Adam Morris, and today we're digging into a real working example of AI inside an MSP. Our guests are Alex and Dani from PCW Solutions, a growing and successful MSP who've rebuilt their service desk experience with an AI-driven phone workflow that actually logs tickets, routes calls, and books sales callbacks. In the next half an hour, you'll learn how this MSP stitched together a 4-part stack, that's PSA, voice AI, telephony, and messaging, to cut interruptions and speed up ticketing, what really changed for customers and engineers and how they handled pushback, and the costs, ROI, and the next steps. So let's get into it. Hello, Dani and Alex. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, how are you, Adam?
Yeah, very well. As I was explaining earlier, a little bit redder on the face than I was hoping to be, having been out on the golf course this morning and not worn a cap. Anyway, let's get to business. Maybe Dani or Alex, you could start by providing the audience with a bit of background and context here. So just tell us a little about your business, what you do, where you're based, how big you are, how long you've been going, essentially the history leading up to where we are today.
Yeah, so I started the business PCW Solutions 21 years ago now when I dropped out of school. I mainly started just helping domestic customers when I was 17, 18. And then later on, I started helping business customers. And then when I turned 20, I gave up my other jobs and went full-time self-employed and then started helping business customers. Now we look after over 150 businesses and we keep growing every year. We keep taking on new customers every year, don't we? And I keep having to take on more staff every year as well.
Yeah.
I've known Dani for many years. She was my friend way before she started working for me. And yeah, do you want to explain?
I've been friends with Alex far too long than I care to remember, to be honest with you.
I'll put up with you. That's fine.
So yeah, we've been friends for 18 years and on and off over the years, I've come in and out of the business, helping him with different things. I've got an IT background. So yeah, we're just looking at growing the business now, aren't we? And different ways that we can do that, make process automations and so on. So yeah, there's a team of 6,
Yeah.
and we're looking at employing more staff as well and apprentices to grow the business and help us where we need to get to, really.
Great. And where are you based?
We're based in Abbots Langley now. We were originally in Watford Town Centre, and we love the new building you're in because it's much, much bigger.
Yeah,
and
we've had a lot more customers and a lot more interest as well. I think the business that moving to this location and it being a much bigger building and being our own, I think it's had a bit of a mindset shift for us as well. So we're starting to look at different strategies, aren't we, of how we can attract larger businesses. So it's been really good.
That, or we're thinking, oh my God, we've got to afford this big building in 5 years and find more customers.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I can understand your sentiment there. When we moved to a larger, better office, there was a lift in sort of who we thought, what we were, what we stand for. Maybe we can appeal to bigger customers now. And I think that lifted the whole workforce, actually. Plus, it was a much better place to bring customers. We'll say, look, hang on here. We are actually real. We're a bunch of guys. Come and meet the guys. These are the awards on the wall, etc. All that good stuff.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned location, just to sort of cut this piece off. Why is it a better location? Is it a bigger urban area or?
Office.
It's a bigger office, much more parking. We've got 11 parking bays before we had 2 or 3. Watford Town Centre, the problem with the town centre is you've got to get in and out of the town traffic. Whereas where we are, we're right by all the motorways with no traffic.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Sounds good. Of course, you can tap into the whole of London there as well, can't you?
Yes.
Okay. So we've invited you on the show because I was very interested and intrigued about how you're exploiting AI at the moment. And, we're all trying to understand what this thing is, how to actually use it. I don't think there's any one person in the world that understands everything about this stuff, right? So it's all about just trying to piece things together and make sense of it and exploit it as appropriate, right? So talk to me about how you started to think about AI. And we're going to dig into this specific example in a moment, but kind of how did you lead up to it? What was your thinking around AI? How did you start to navigate getting your head around it with a view to making some changes?
Genuinely, what started it was we're a very close office here. And I turned around to my team and I said, how can I make more money out of you? I literally said, what can I do for you guys to make me more money? How can I get you fixing more problems? And they said, well, our biggest issue is we've still got to answer the calls. So we're having to pick up the phone, the customer's details come up anyway. Then we've got to log a ticket. We've got to save that ticket. Then we've got to get back to what we were doing. So they kept getting distracted. And so I thought, okay, what do I do? And I looked at an answer system, but they were charging like £1 a call with the quantity of calls we get. It was just very expensive. And then also they wouldn't actually log a ticket. They would just send it through email to us. So then I thought, well, everyone's talking about this AI. Surely AI can somehow receive a phone call and log the ticket for us and even transfer the calls over to the agent working on the ticket. And that's what we invested in and implemented and got working.
Okay. So you weren't heavily involved in AI, playing with lots of things and doing loads of things. And then it was like, okay, there's 10 things I can do, but I'm going to pick this one thing. It was more actually, no, we can improve our workflow, or we need to improve that workflow. How can we do it? Oh, AI can possibly do it. That was the kind of approach you took.
We ran looking at, I've mentioned Copilot to you a few times.
My colleague Danny keeps saying all the time, oh, you should use chat GPT.
Yeah.
Don't I keep saying GTP? She keeps telling me,
Alex, you're supposed to be an expert, just so you know.
I know. She keeps telling me to use Copilot. She keeps telling me to use chat GPT.
The letters, they're
Enough my deception.
Okay, all right.
It should be GTP. That's why. It should be, I don't know why, but it should be GTP.
So we'd had discussion before about, because he wanted me to come into the business and look at improvements that could be made. And I said, well, look, we can use AI as a tool to do that. First of all, Copilot, obviously within Microsoft 365, makes it life a lot easier. We do use ChatGPT quite a bit. Not obviously putting it in there, but we do use it a lot. And then the phone system just seemed like a really obvious way to implement AI that would improve the.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. So I think what we're saying to the audience here is you weren't like some kind of AI genius, right? Ready just to go, hang on a second, let's do something really fancy with that. Okay, so take us through step by step. What do you need to do? How does this thing work? And now, how's it different?
So I started looking at AI things like AI voice chats and AI. I was like, well, hold on, I can get an AI assistant to talk to and it will talk back to me. How do I put that on a phone? So I started thinking about how to add it to a phone system. Then I found one and I basically said to it, right, you're an IT expert working for PCW Solutions. I need you to diagnose a problem and email me a ticket. Because I can't do the API integration, all that. I just want to see what it could do. So I said to it, you're going to repair a problem. You're going to log a ticket, find out what the problem is, and email me the ticket. That's it, really. So I called it up, and she said, hi, it's Lucy from PCW Solutions. How can I help you? I said, oh, I've got a printer problem. And then she turned around to him, oh, okay, what's the problem you're having? I went, oh, it's flat dead. It's not working. She went, oh, so there's no power. I went, yeah, there's no power. So in the thing on my command, the next thing I said was take their details and send me an email. She went, okay, so have you tried unplugging it from the wall or can you try a different power socket? I'm like, I didn't tell you to start diagnosing the wall. Like, I don't want to fire my staff. I just want to make their jobs easier. And so she was starting to try too much. She asked me what the make of the printer was. So I was like, oh, that's handy, finding out the make of the printer. Then she was talking about unplugging it and plugging it back in again to check the power and all of this. I thought, okay, I'm starting to see how it can work, but I don't know how to do all the development stuff. So then I got developers involved. We ended up paying quite a bit. It was like 9 or 10 grand. But now what the AI system can do is incredible. And during the development process, one of the things they said was, right, we're ready. We believe the system's ready. Can you put it live? Can you test it to your customers? And we found the biggest problem with the AI phone system was humans. Humans are the biggest problem. And so basically the problem with humans is when they hear a phone system, they automatically think it's done. It's just that some push 1 for this, 2 for that, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize how much potential she has, how much she can do. And the system we've installed now is so advanced. She can even fix customers that say things wrong. So customers are giving something wrong, as in I literally heard the call myself and heard the customer give his email address wrong. She told him it correctly. She corrected him.
Yeah, it is really smart, because what we had at the beginning was people ringing in, hearing that it was not a real person, said, I want to speak to an agent, I want to speak to somebody in support, trying to bypass the solution. And then I think once they realized they weren't going to get anywhere with that, and they were just she was saying, oh, okay, well, I'll log a ticket for you, and like really enforcing that, no, this is the process that we're following now. Are you an existing customer? Are you a new prospect? And then directing them down the appropriate channel. It meant that the boys aren't even wasting time with sales calls coming in anymore, because it will just go through to a different part of the system. So it's been really good, isn't it?
Well, the amount has changed since then. So now, one of the problems we found is the worst party taking down customers' details, because that's long-winded. So the last thing I didn't want a system where every time someone calls up, they've got to give their name, their email address, and phone number, because no one wants that. They're already a customer. I should know that already. So we basically said to her, if someone calls in on a mobile, look up their details in our CRM system. And if you find them, tell them, yes, I found you, you're an existing customer. Alex, how can I help? What's the problem you're having? And it would actually say their name back to them again. But then one problem we came across is that a lot of customers, they work for companies and they have landline numbers. So if they called on a landline number, you can't exactly say, hi, Alex, because it could be anyone in the company. So then we had to so I told the system, only look up the number if it's a mobile number. And I didn't quite realize how many people call on landlines. So nearly every other call was, can I have your name, your email address, and your phone number? And customers hated it. And so in the end, we told her, if they called on a landline, the first question is, what's your mobile number? And then when they give their mobile number, she looks up their details, even if they called on a landline number, and says, oh, I found you, Alex. What's the problem you're having today?
We'll come back to the podcast in a minute, but first, I just want to introduce you to the mentoring service from MSP Finance Team. How long will you carry on struggling on your own, juggling cash flow, feeling like you're barely making ends meet, when the very reason you started your MSP was not just to help others master technology, but also to secure your own financial future? Or perhaps you've grown your MSP to a good size and are looking to prepare for an optimal sale or acquisition, but have never done it before. We've walked in your shoes. We're ex-MSP owners and have built our businesses from startup to exit, and know exactly how it feels to be constantly firefighting or struggling to grow profit. And that's why our mentoring, or call it coaching if you prefer, exists to help you achieve the rewards you set out to achieve in the first place. More profit, more time, and the freedom to focus on what truly matters. So you're probably asking, why should we work with you? Well, we deliver results. Here are just 2 examples. A 10 million MSP with a 7-strong leadership team, but lackluster results. Within just 2 quarters of working with us, their profits began to climb. At the end of year 1, their profits will have jumped from 300K to 1.3 million. But we're not that big, I hear you say. Well, we work with smaller MSPs as well. A 400K MSP was suffering a 10% loss before we engaged with them, and were struggling to move forward for years. Again, within a 12-month period, we've turned that business around. They've got new clients, they've got their mojo back, and they made a 10% profit this year. If you'd like results like this, book a free consultation now at mspfinanceteam.com, and we'll discuss a burning issue that's been holding you back and give you several key actions to take away and implement completely free of charge with no further obligations. Don't settle for less. Make your MSP everything you dreamed it to be. Okay. Got it.
And so she does that.
So can I just go back a little step and then we'll dig into this a bit more? So there's a bit of, in terms of creating this, you've got an existing PSA system, yeah? And there's some commercial AI VoIP solution or agent, or
Not VoIP solution.
is it-
So there's multiple levels to this. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to make it work.
so 4 commercial pieces of the jigsaw, applications, plus some human dexterity and skill to join these
Get it
things
all to work.
together to create your solution. Yep.
Yeah, and it took about a month and a half to do it.
Who found the applications? Was that you, or was that your developers, or a bit of both?
So I found the main application, but I think I watched some YouTube videos and things like that. That's what gave me the idea. So I found our PSA is obviously one application. I found the voice application, and then the voice application worked really well with this phone provider. So then I contacted the phone provider, and our current phone system literally just diverts to them. And then the developers told us about the 4th part to send the text messages and things like that.
And did you use AI in order to help you find these apps and work these out as well? You didn't.
So we used the developers to give us the advice on what to do.
Okay.
If you knew that ChatGPT would have given him the answers, I'm sure he would have done that as well.
Yeah, seeing myself make
So in essence, your solution is a replacement for, well, part of the replacement of a dispatcher, isn't it?
Well, so the next thing I'll get to it later on, but one of the next things we're planning on doing is having it make outbound calls, not marketing ones. That's illegal.
Sure. But this is, part of what you've just been talking about, that, dealing with the interruption to engineers, which is making them less productive,
inbound calls,
right?
Yeah.
Because they don't like to be interrupted. They're deeply trying to fix some problem, and then hang on a second, they've got to switch what they're doing and start to, speak to a client. So, that's traditionally part of the value of a dispatcher, right? To provide that role and let engineers just be. And certainly makes a lot of sense, that specific use case. And you talked about, rolling it out to your clients and how there was a little bit of pushback there naturally, and clearly a little bit of concern potentially around, actually, do you know what? I don't want to talk to a robot. I just want to talk to a human. That's why I'm using you guys in the first place, kind of thing. For me, these things solve themselves once they see the value of it, right? So once they could see, actually, do you know what? My ticket gets closed quicker because these guys are now more efficient. I get it. And I'm going to have to give my mobile. And then, do you know what? They want to take a few details, and I know, and then I get email sent back within minutes telling me my ticket's logged, right? And is that kind of what you're seeing there?
Yeah. So what we ended up doing to solve the biggest problem, which was people not wanting to give their details.
Yeah.
Well, we sent an email to all our customers basically saying, we're launching a new AI phone system. If you click this form and update your contact details, just your name, email address, and phone number, it'll update it in our CRM, and you're done. You're set up. You're ready to go.
Okay.
So we send that out to our customers. We've had a couple of the customers that try it, the customers that actually follow through and follow what she's saying, love it. They think it's brilliant. The way do you know what's funny? Even I tested my staff. I played them a phone call, and I said to my staff, what was that customer's problem? And the staff turned around. They told me what the problem was. I went, no, you got it wrong. And the AI got it right. And so what happened? So I'll give you an example of a phone call. So someone called in, and for example, their number wasn't registered. So the person said, oh, my name's Alex, and my email address is alex.gmail.com. And yeah, you heard that right. It was .gmail.com. He read it out wrong. And she turned around, and I looked at the transcription. She definitely heard that dot. She turned around and went, okay, so it's alex@gmail.com. So she got it right, even though he said it wrong. And then another example was, he said his name was like alex@gmailuk.com. And she repeated it as gmailduck.com. She didn't quite say the UK bit correctly. And then when he repeated his email address back at her, he went @gmail.com. He didn't say the beginning bit. He just went @gmail.com. gmailuk.com, sorry. And she turned around and went, okay, so it's alex@gmailuk.com. So she knew to put the two together. She's really clever. And I know you're going to tell me I'm talking about it.
No, I was just gonna say, have we still got her using Tanik's voice?
Yeah, she's now close now. We cloned one of our managers' voices as well. And so basically, when she logs the ticket now, what happens is someone will call in, they'll give their mobile number. She'll say, how can I help you? They'll say, oh, for example, I've got a printer problem. The printer's printing black lines. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've tried changing the cartridge, and they'll blabber on for like a minute and a half. And then she'll go, okay, so you've got a printer problem where the printer's printing black lines in your print and you need that fixed. And you try changing the cartridge and that hasn't worked. It's like, yeah, she just summed up your 2-minute bit in 10 seconds. And she'll go, is there anything else you want to add to this ticket? And you can say stuff like, oh yeah, can you call me after 3:00 in the afternoon? She'll say, okay, so I've logged a ticket with the printer problem and we'll call you after 3:00 in the afternoon. This is your ticket number, and you'll receive a text and an email with this ticket number. And then she goes and texts you the ticket number, and she goes and emails you the ticket number as well. And if it's a ticket for a new member of staff, or you're getting rid of a member of staff, she will then also email you a form to fill out all the details we need to create a new member of staff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. It's very cool. And is this for all inbound calls? So a sales call, a client account call?
We do. If it's sales, it comes through to us, but if we don't answer it quick enough, it goes through to her. And once again, with her,
That's an overflow. That's an overflow facility. Okay.
Yeah. But she'll say, are you an existing customer? They'll say, no, I'm a new customer. She'll take their details, and then she'll say, it's great to have you looking around and looking at coming on board with us. We're always excited to take on new customers. What I can do is I can organize a sales rep to give you a call back, either Dani or Alex. What day or time would work for you? And then they give the day or time, and then it checks Dani's calendar. And it says, I can get you in for 2:00 on Wednesday, if that's okay. And it books it in. It sends a calendar invite out to Dani and to the new prospect.
Wow.
And then if you call in with an existing ticket, she'll say, have you got an existing ticket? You say yes. You give the ticket number. She'll say, oh, I can see Ben is currently working on this. Would you either like to leave a message to add to the ticket, or do you want me to pass you through to Ben now? And then she'll pass the call over to Ben.
Okay. So there's a lot of moving parts here. There's a telephone system piece, and there's like what?
Text
message system, and then like 2 other kind of AI agents in the mix as well.
Yes. A lot of
plus some API connectivity and
to what PSA platform?
Yeah, into your PSA. Yeah, no, fascinating. Sounds like 10K was a great investment on that one.
Well, we do have to pay per minute, but it works out about 10p.
Yeah, okay.
Next, what we're planning on rolling out next, although we're not there yet, we're looking at it. Once we get her fully implemented on the inbound, the next will be on the outbound. What we're planning on doing is if a ticket's been open for more than 3 days, she will call the customer and she will say to the customer, is this ticket now resolved, or is there something wrong that you'd like to add to the ticket? Because I'd like to close the ticket. And you could say, yeah, the ticket's all resolved. And she will then go and close the ticket for us. Mm-hmm. So that's the next stage.
Yeah, that's good. So have you researched whether anybody's actually providing a turnkey solution for this? Because if
there isn't one. Yeah, I was looking. There isn't one.
No. Well, anybody listening to this podcast, you might want to go away and...
Especially using Halo, because that'll make life a lot easier.
Well, you might want to go away and create a commercial product for this, because it's obvious, isn't it? It makes complete sense.
Definitely. One of my philosophies has always been, before we launch any product to the customer, like when we started selling VoIP to the customer, but we don't just resell someone else's service. We do it ourselves. We host the platform ourselves. My view has always been on any new product, try it for myself for a year first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did with VoIP, and that's what I'm currently doing with AI. We're trying it out to our customers first.
Okay. And so is this something that you would implement with a customer if they were interested? If they had a similar kind of call center kind of service desk, whatever it might be, type of functionality need?
Yeah. We are looking into it. We are looking at how much, now we built one, how much we could build a second one for.
I'm guessing also then this has extended the AI conversation you're now having with clients. So you're now going to your clients having implemented a highly efficient use case, solution. And so you haven't just researched it, you've actually implemented something, and you've implemented something successfully. So that's a great position to have now, to be talking to your clients around, how they might be using AI. And it's certainly great from a positioning perspective. I mean, what are you hearing with these conversations now? Are you hearing that because you can demonstrate this sort of expertise around this, that they are seeing it more positively, more willing to have those conversations? Or is there any kind of pushback? Or
I think the biggest pushback is the cost. It is a big upfront cost. And I think that from my point of view, the only reason I went into doing it is because I'm already pushed to my max with my current staff. If I had staff that were twiddling their thumbs, then I wouldn't have gone and spent eight grand or 10 grand on a phone system, because I'm already paying my staff to be here. As I said, my whole aim of this wasn't to get rid of staff. It was to get more money out of my staff. And so basically, I think when customers start getting pushed to the limit, that's when they're going to start looking at AI.
Yeah. I think it will only, specifically with the telephone solution as well, it will only benefit certain types of business where they've got a high level of inbound call.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's not a business that's doing that, there's not really going to be much interest in it. But I think what it has demonstrated is that as an MSP, we're prepared to think outside the box and look for solutions, not just for ourselves, but with other things we've implemented for customers. That if you've got a problem, come to us with it and we'll try and figure out a solution for you. So we're not just your typical MSP. We're actually creating a bit of a roadmap to automate somebody's business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just think, it's great to have a story behind an AI conversation when you're talking to your clients. You want to be leading that conversation. Them to think of you as, well, you know what, these guys have at least some clue about what this thing is and where it's going, A, from a security perspective, but also from an efficiency and, growth perspective. Right.
The good thing is that when you call up the AI, if you're, for example, she knows the context. And so if you call up saying, oh, I'm needing to ask for a new computer, I've got a new member of staff starting and I need a new computer. She'll say, do you have any specifics for the computer you want? Do you need it to have a 14-inch screen? What size screen do you want? What processor do you want? She'll ask these questions to the customer. So she understands the context as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then she submits it as a change request, not a problem.
Yeah.
So then if they ask for a new computer, they don't submit it as a problem. They submit it as a change request.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We need to start to wrap up the call. I'm interested to know what your wider thoughts are now around the future of AI within an MSP context. And, where do you think we might be in a couple of years' time? How might things look like?
I feel that AI has a great place in the MSP workplace for basic level jobs, basic level work. I don't think it'll ever replace project work and things like that. But when a customer submits a ticket for, I want to reset my password or I want to add a new user, AI could easily take over those jobs.
Well, like level ones.
Yeah, level one stuff. And I think the problem you've got is you've got to, we contacted a company that are looking into or doing that already, looking at AI. And they came back with a quote and I was just like, that's ridiculous. The price was just far too high. And the problem you've got is when they priced us, they're pricing us based on how much time they're saving the customer, how much time they're saving my staff. They literally brought up an Excel spreadsheet and said, how long does it take you to do this? How long does it take you to do that? And they're basing it on UK staff wages. As I said, a lot of companies now are looking abroad. And I think the AI, the biggest problem with abroad is the accent. That's the reality of it. People don't like talking abroad. Now, if my AI phone system can answer the call and take the ticket, or they log the ticket via email, I get someone abroad to fix the ticket. And obviously I've got to make sure security's all there and everything. I could talk about that in a different time. But my cost is a lot lower. And so if the AI is costing me $1,500 a month and the amount of work it's doing is one member of staff work, well, in the UK, that makes sense just about. Abroad, we're talking what, maybe £300, £400 wage. It don't make sense. I might want to hire a member of staff to do it.
I think looking into how, because I've worked in process automation before, which obviously uses a lot of AI heavily to look at processes and streamlining that. So normally there would be two separate companies or two separate businesses that would do that. But with what Alex is doing, showing people that we've already implemented AI here, I think it would give customers the confidence that if they had a problem they wouldn't typically come to us with as well. They might broach that idea with us now and say, well, look, our accounts payable team have got loads and loads of invoices that they just can't get sorted. Is there a solution using AI that you could help us with? Well, that brings extra project work to the business. So I think it just opens up a whole new conversation.
Yeah, because we've even automated our billing now as well. Our billing system goes off to where we buy our Microsoft licenses for, automates all of the Microsoft licenses, automates how many computers they've got, automates all their phone calls that they make on the VoIP system. So all our billing is automated as well now. So at the end of the month, we don't really have to do any billing. It just does it all by itself.
Sure.
Because that used to take like 8 hours. Me and my manager, Sunil, it used to take us about 8 hours at the end of the month.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's critical to have that efficient. Sounds really good. Sounds like you're doing some great stuff there. And I know there's some other developments as well that we'd like to talk about probably on a future show.
Yeah.
Because that's exciting as well. And I'm sure, and you're happy to take some, if anybody else is interested out there, Alex, you're happy to have some conversations with others if they're interested.
Of course.
So I'll make sure the contact details then on the show notes here. And really interesting, and really exciting to just sort of unravel what's going on here. Hopefully we can spend more time on the golf course and less time in the office.
Well,
I'll wear a cap though next time.
Out there.
What did you say? I look like Danny, look like that lady in the wheelchair off bed.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
She's very complimentary today, isn't she?
Look, it's been a pleasure, Alex and Danny, and we'll speak to you very soon.